Chains bind him, yet he grins defiantly, prepared for what lies ahead as the atmosphere grows ominous. He lay on the ground, chained and gasping, as bright light blazed around him. He sat with his face covered, overwhelmed by despair, surrounded by deepening shadows. He looked around fearfully, questioning the monstrous characters encircling him, unsure of their nature. He studied the dark character behind him, speaking about the evil spirits surrounding them with an eerie expression. As the sky darkened, he looked up, feeling a chill as a creature with multiple eyes and mouths emerged, pondering the horrors that awaited. He watched anxiously, sweat forming on his forehead, as sharp red lines highlighted his anxiety, sensing a foreboding presence approaching. His heart raced, eyes wide, sweat trickling down, as he sensed a terrifying presence drawing nearer. Standing in the dim room, he felt a chill, heart racing, sweat on his brow, as he stared at the ominous shadows above. Terrified and confused, he looked up when someone reassured him there was no need to fear, despite bloodstains on his shirt. The older man advised that his weakness attracted evil spirits, while the younger, blood-covered one was told to follow instructions to improve health. He looked uncertainly at the plate of meat, expressing discontent about having to eat it again. Gasping in shock, he noticed his blood-stained shirt and the chains binding his hands, panic clear on his face. He asked if she didn't trust her grandmother, maintaining a serious expression. Surprise filled his eyes as shadows danced across his features. Holding a bowl, he expressed belief in the other person, surprise evident on his face. With a mix of surprise and embarrassment, he tightly held the bowl as someone approached from behind. A painful cut on his neck caused him to wince, blood seeping from the wound while fear and determination were visible in his eyes. Holding a cigarette, he stared in shock as red lightning illuminated the cosmic backdrop. Wide-eyed, he pondered how consuming it made him feel more energized. Looking up at the elder, he received advice to rest early after finishing his meal. He warned her to relieve herself at the wall's base at night and to never look outside due to lurking danger. Lying on the bed, he stared blankly, haunted by the realization of his wounds. He stepped forward, the dark atmosphere thickening around him, revealing determined intent in his stride. He lay on the bed, a troubled expression on his face, contemplating if he had truly been reborn as a boy named Homa and if the treatment was genuine. A candle flickered beside him as he reflected on how enemies had killed his past self, while he was summoned instead of the original soul. He stepped through the rippling water, guided by a faint glow of blue light, moving into the unknown. Surrounded by a swirling black mass, he stood near a table with empty plates above, feeling uncertain and curious about the eerie atmosphere. He wondered why he wasn't at his grandmother's house anymore, confused by the strange and dark surroundings. Looking to the side, he felt surprised and uneasy, a bead of sweat rolling down his face in the dim, shadowy atmosphere. With a confident grin, he widened his eyes as ice formed beneath his feet, showcasing newfound power while threatening his opponent with a punch. Gasping in shock, he stared wide-eyed as he suddenly awoke, exclaiming loudly while gripping the blanket tightly. He looked up, drenched in sweat, as a cheerful girl with pointed ears gripped his feet, giggling excitedly. The cheerful girl with pointed ears playfully teased him about being a coward and excitedly announced that Grandma was taking them to the old fire pit. In the dimly lit room, a hooded character towered ominously over a restrained individual seated on a wooden bench, shadows swirling around them. He appeared startled and anxious, his eyes wide as he inquired about the old fire pit. The sun rose over the misty mountains, lighting up the serene village below and casting a warm glow on the peaceful landscape. With determination, he stood before a towering stone tower, accompanied by a cloaked character and a small companion, looking into the unknown. He reminisced softly about his grandmother from the Hu clan, as a group stood before the stone tower, observing him. He expressed delight, noting his nephew Homa's improved health, while an old man with a staff stood nearby, appearing thoughtful. He asked if they were truly bringing the young nephew to the old fire pit, showing concern while gazing at the lush surroundings. He wondered if little Homa could engage in zest mode, concerned about his recent recovery, while looking up at the sky. He expressed concern, stating that for this reason, the young boy must enter the old fire pit, while others listened closely. A girl in red pulled the boy, who appeared surprised and startled by his surroundings. Approaching the stone structure, a girl in red asked who would protect him if the ancestors would not, creating tension among the group. He wondered if he should call for help, feeling grim about the stranger's connection to the old woman, realizing careful assessment was needed. The clan chief voiced concerns about Grandma's actions, while another elder replied they were unable to intervene. He stated no one would stop Grandma from helping, and a child in red followed, showing trust in her healing skills. He pondered the awaited decision of the revered ancestors, standing before an energetic portal. He appeared surprised and anxious, sweating as he stared at the sight before him. In a dim stone chamber, shadows surrounded two characters by a table, creating a mysterious atmosphere near an eerie pool. In a gloomy scene, a character expressed shock, questioning if the old fire pit was intended for burning people, while a figure loomed behind them. A hooded figure instructed someone to kneel, insisting the revered ancestors observe them favorably, while placing a small object on a table. A hooded figure sat at a table, focused on a glowing object, while a kneeling character watched, caught in uncertainty. The hooded figure clasped their hands, appearing solemn and contemplative, as anticipation filled the air. The hooded figure reflected on the Hu clan's past aid to the village, pleading for the ancestors' protection against enemies and spirits. He questioned the whereabouts of the old woman, concern etched on his face as shadows danced around him. A boy contemplates his grandmother's profound affection, as a ghostly character appears, signaling danger. He feels a chill, questioning the situation while sweat forms on his forehead. He notices green figures appearing, each producing unsettling sounds, causing confusion and fear. He gazes at the green figures surrounding him, their whispers triggering fear and confusion. Wide-eyed, he stares, sweat forming, revealing his fear and confusion. He gazes at a towering creature, its eyes and arms conveying a sinister presence. He stares at the creature above, its eyes glowing, issuing cryptic warnings of danger. Sweating, he looks at the intimidating figure, hearing it warn ominously, "This is not a game." Startled by cracking sounds, he realizes he's in a perilous situation. He crouches in fear, aware he's trapped in a dangerous reality. He asked if they needed the old woman who had finally appeared, worry visible on his face. Feeling puzzled, he wonders about its whereabouts, as the cloaked character near the table questions the current scenario. In a dim room, he stands cloaked behind a table, sensing foreboding as dust swirls around. He stands in shadow, hood draped low, lost in thought as silence surrounds him. He kneels before the robed woman, mentioning Grandma of the Hu clan, while a child watches silently. The elder explains that two Hu brothers from Hu Mountain, outsiders, were buried far from the old fire pit, leaving little Homa unprotected. He suggested exploring a different approach, questioning if his ancestors' absence meant they wouldn't provide protection. He warned that they would soon recognize him and added that if the ancestors didn't know him now, entering the fire pit would change that. He advised against seeking other solutions, claiming to be the last Hu clan descendant, promising to protect the man and prevent him from hiding. He hesitated, questioning the need for the old fire pit's protection, as sweat formed on his brow. A worried girl in red asks Brother Homa if he remembers anything, as he looks up at her with sweat on his brow. Realizing no option was left but to follow orders, he urged to find her, while a shadowy character with glowing eyes loomed menacingly. He explained to her that the old fire pit is effective in protecting the village from evil spirits and suggested using its ash as a protective charm. He looked up and thought about how where there are evil spirits, there are also ways to combat them, concluding that seeking the ancestors' protection is the best method. He contemplated his situation, feeling the burden of being a fake grandson, depending on his grandmother for survival in a harsh world. He stood silently, a single tear on his cheek, reflecting his inner turmoil and unspoken emotions. He clenched his fist, vowing to embrace life now that he is alive, determination evident on his face. He stood tall, declaring he never wants to die, with determination and resolve in his eyes as shadows surrounded him. He gently intertwined his skeletal fingers with another's, creating a delicate connection in a moment of unspoken emotions. He looked tenderly at the elderly woman, asking if they should return home, his expression showing concern. He gazed intensely, enveloped in shadows, his expression revealing deep contemplation and secrecy, lost in thought. He looked at the tall stone tower, surrounded by greenery, and contemplated their next move, deciding they should head back. While training in the forest, he recalled how the shadowy character mentioned his grandmother ruined his path to perfection, forcing him to consume foul water daily. He demanded a resolution. He and his companion walk along a path when suddenly a small character in red runs toward them, catching their attention in the forest. He questions the cloaked character, asking if she had seen the revered ancestors, while his companion shows slight anxiety. Sweat drips down his face as he nervously attempts to speak, his wide eyes showing fear in the eerie atmosphere. With a heavy heart, he warns, expressing regret that even little Hong Tang shouldn't have witnessed her. Under a full moon, a lone house stands surrounded by dense greenery, as if hiding secrets in the night. Startled, the character lies awake as an older man whispers about not seeing the ancestors in the Hong Tang, revealing his soul's return to life. The older man reassures the character about possible healing, reminding him of past hardships and encouraging improvement. He reflects on his grandmother's words, hoping for recovery, though doubts remain. In a dark room, he lies on the bed, contemplating when these difficult days will end. A serene circle of water ripples quietly, illuminated by soft light, evoking calm and contemplation amidst darkness. Anger surged as he realized her actions shattered his spiritual journey, vowing to take her grandson. Surprised by the weapon, he exclaimed, "A wooden plank?" His eyes reflect fear as a bead of sweat trickles down, suggesting a tense moment ahead. Standing in a shadowy dreamscape, he wonders if he has returned to this strange dream again. He looks over his shoulder, noticing an empty plate and a single chopstick by a flickering lantern, feeling uneasy. Staring at the half-incense stick in his hand, he appears surprised and uneasy as sweat beads on his forehead. He questions planting the incense stick, hand poised over a pot of soil, uncertainty in his expression. Wide-eyed, a spark of realization appears as shock overtakes him. Looking up, confusion is evident as smoke curls from the ashtray, unease filling the dimly lit room. He looks up and announces his codename is Eggdot, calling new transmigrators from the old Shadow Mountain, shouting, "Can anyone hear me?" Listening intently, he feels a chilling presence as a voice echoes from the fog, murmuring, "This." Gasping in shock, he wonders if everyone has perished, heart racing as he asks, "I received the call. Who are you?" In a shadowy realm, a cloaked character holds a glowing orb, fearfully gazing at an ominous eye depicted above, as tension thickens. Fear seized him as a dark character loomed, its presence causing him to recoil, leaving him silent. Desperate, he realizes the mountain harbors more than just him and calls out fearfully for his brother. Confused, he questions if many others have arrived in this world, uncertainty evident on his face. Worried, he wonders about the world they are in, regretting his greed. The brother, concerned, expresses a desire to understand their situation, while another admits ignorance about the cursed world. One warns the place is dangerous, mentioning evil spirits and the appearance of Tai Sui, likening it to hell. A cloaked figure warns a frightened girl that the most terrifying aspect of the place is the people in it, surrounded by a red atmosphere. Shadowy figures with glowing eyes claim to be what others fear most, blending into the crimson background. Evil spirits claim they've possessed bodies, declaring themselves terrifying demonic spirits and warning that revealing their identities will lead to destruction. He questions himself in shock, realizing he might be an evil spirit, anxiety on his face. Panicking, he worries his incense will burn out soon and fears an ominous presence, voicing his need for answers. He felt a mix of fear and betrayal when a shadowy character warned him about the consequences of his newfound power, recalling 2 decades spent guarding Elder Sui's body. He told his brother that seniors should guide newcomers in survival rules, but he felt unable to assist at that moment. He reminded his brother of the importance of finding Tai Su, flesh, which could aid in his recovery. He informed his brother that the life-sealing technique could sustain him for 2 months at most, urging him to meet others and share this information. He recalled that finding Coffin Village under the East Bridge required remembering the House of 100 Corpses, feeling the urgency of the task. In a dimly lit room, he stood at a table under swirling shadows as smoke rose from the incense holder. In a shadowy room, he looked upward and realized he wasn't alone in his struggle for survival. In the dimly lit room, he stood with a worried expression, reflecting on his brother's tone and recognizing he could only rely on himself. He decided to stay with Grandma for the time being, intending to observe how events unfolded. He sat on the bed, clutching his head, overwhelmed by his thoughts. With tousled hair, he sat on the bed as another character, holding a stick, remarked that Brother Homa had finally woken up. A shadowy character expressed disappointment, warning that instead of gratitude, harm had come to their grandson, while a young girl stood quietly beside him. She sits at the table in red pajamas, nibbling nervously as he inquires about her restless sleep. As he wipes sweat away, he remembers her sleep talking and asks if she had a nightmare. He mentions that consuming Tai Su, flesh, can heal but leads to strange dreams, unlike those who avoid it. He shares that the flesh has healing properties but worries about maintaining his hidden identity, as his grandma thinks he was simply saved. He glances at the plate of flesh, feeling conflicted while his grandma enjoys her meal, unaware of his internal struggles. He observes the red meat slices in the bowl, recalling Hong Tang's words about them being from Lord Tai Sui's body. He questions his grandmother about the red meat slices on the table, expressing confusion about their origin, while another person sits quietly nearby. Feeling both relieved and confused, he explains he's been recovering without memories, questioning the oddity of consuming strange flesh daily. Looking somber, he reveals that Lord Tai Sui suppresses all evil spirits. She shares that after being severely injured, she must daily plead with Lord Tai Sui to cut a bit of his flesh to strengthen her body. A sinister character threatened to take and burn someone, while a terrified individual screamed as they realized the danger. He informs her that their clan chief and elders also consume it to prolong their lives, exclusively eating the white Tai Sui. He explains that the blue Tai Sui, deemed superior to the white one, has been taken by city dwellers. He wonders nervously if the item he holds is the inferior one, showing uncertainty and concern. He reflects on how his severe illness made him unworthy of regular care, while another insists the meal was prepared just for him. He gasps, realizing the danger, and mutters about the bloody Tai Sui, fear evident on his face. He recalls eating the dish his brother called the rare bloody Tai Sui, displaying a mix of curiosity and concern. He wonders if grandma might be wealthy in disguise as he eats, sensing his wounds healing but noticing no other changes. He urges the young man to eat quickly and follow him, his stern demeanor hidden beneath a worn hood. He looks perplexed, sweat forming on his forehead as he hears a sound, wondering about its source. He appears contemplative, sweat on his forehead, as he assures her he will find a master to help her learn skills. With determination, he lunged forward, eyes glowing, shouting, "Amra," reaching to seize control in the moment. He walks ahead, occasionally glancing back at her dressed in red, while a cloaked character follows in the enchanting forest. He rushes forward, his steps echoing through the forest as the ground shifts, revealing intrigue ahead. Twisted trees loom in the misty atmosphere, and dark shapes dart, suggesting danger in the forest. In the forest, a cloaked figure watches a young man cautiously move through shadows, unaware of hidden dangers. In the dense forest, a cloaked figure commands the young man to stop, tension thick as shadows loom. A cloaked elder introduces his grandson, urging others to meet him, while the young man looks on, surprised and curious. His eyes widen in shock, a bead of sweat on his face as he gazes at the shadowy figure behind him. He turns sharply, startled, as the ground cracks and gnarled roots erupt, hinting at a looming threat. He stands firm as a log strikes the ground explosively, sending debris flying, a reminder of the chaos. He wields an axe, surrounded by flames, embodying chaos and determination, ready for challenges ahead. With a startled expression, he winced, feeling the weight of the situation on him. He smiled, grateful for Grandma's presence, and expressed worry about the dangers outside the village and wondered how villagers manage during normal times. She explained that everyone possesses strong dark energy from the sacred fire pit, but Brother Homa is special, piquing his interest. She playfully mentioned that Brother Homa is more intriguing, leading to a lighthearted exchange between them against a peaceful, green backdrop. A character in a shawl called for Homa, who calmly replied, "Ah, okay," as they stood among lush greenery. An elder man in a shawl instructed his younger companion to bow respectfully to an acquaintance before walking 15 steps ahead to wait for him. He noticed a solitary wooden stake in the dense, foggy forest, puzzled by its presence. He bowed respectfully before the wooden stake in the misty forest, filled with curiosity and reverence as he pondered its mysterious origin. He moved quietly through the dense, misty forest, urgency guiding him while the lush greenery enveloped him. Standing on a rock with concern, he listened as she, dressed in red, asked if her grandma could drive away evil spirits. She confidently smiled in red, explaining that her grandma is a spirit walker, who typically lures evil spirits rather than driving them away. Startled, a girl peered from behind a coffin as a ghostly character loomed, wondering about the strange occurrences before her. He questioned if Spirit Walker referred to an identity or a specific ability, standing in a tranquil, green environment. He asked if the Master Grandma was taking him to had abilities surpassing hers, as a mysterious character observed from the misty forest. He looked at the sky and realized they were outside the village, assuming they were heading to the second master. He considered his fear of the second master, recalling his hesitation even when helping grandma deliver items. He pondered on the second master's power, noting how it instilled fear in young Hong Tang. In a vast green landscape, a solitary character stood amidst tall trees and swirling mist, creating a mysterious aura. He threw powerful punches with determination, causing dust and rocks to scatter, creating a dynamic scene. He sat calmly, smoking a pipe, watching as powerful punches were thrown, showcasing raw energy and intensity against rocky cliffs and trees. He gazed into the distance thoughtfully, a hint of surprise on his face against the calm blue sky. He approached with curiosity, inquiring if his elder sister indeed brought the boy, surrounded by others in the misty forest. Surprised, he noticed the unexpected early awakening and remarked on the vitality he hadn't anticipated. He learns that the second master can live outside the village with a group of young men who demonstrate their strength. The young man is in awe of the elder's towering character with a pipe, recognizing his impressive strength and presence. He panics, worried the towering character might discover his true identity. Frustration and worry fill him as he bows his head, feeling a large hand on top, creating a tense moment. The boy stands silently, intimidated, as the large man with a pipe questions why he isn't greeting him, placing a hand on his head. A muscular man in a sleeveless garment stands near a boy, while an elder discusses a severe injury and a harsh clan. An elderly man with stern features inquires about something's presence, while a boy, kneeling, is urged to rise quickly. A hooded elderly man warns of the Ming clan's relentless pursuit of their goal, while another man talks about the aftermath of an injury. He stands with a tense expression, sweat on his face, surrounded by a misty, quiet forest. Concerned, he listens to a hooded figure discuss his grandson's forced learning, while a strong elder offers guidance. Looking intense, he told the boy he seemed close to recovering, while the boy perspired in surprise, eyes wide with concern. An elder brother thanked his sister for saving him, while a hooded character asserted the need for others to learn their skills, stressing the Hu clan's significance. He felt trapped, realizing he had no alternatives. He advised the boy to follow the second master and study hard, explaining that without the old sacred fire pit's protection, evil spirits might be less cautious. He reminded the boy that their grandmother wouldn't be able to care for him soon, urging him to take care of himself. With tears in his eyes, he softly called out for his grandmother, feeling a deep sense of longing. In a misty landscape, a cloaked character promised to care for a body, while two others watched with curiosity. An elder, with a pipe, scolded the boy for acting feminine, assuring him he could return home once he mastered his skills. The group skeptically observed the boy, questioning if he was truly the spirit walker, grandma's grandson, noting his weakness and fearing a light breeze could defeat him. The boy, known for disliking study due to its strain, was required to train in the heat, leaving others to ponder the original body's fate. Two shirtless boys watched as a fierce old man coughed loudly, his intense training causing concern among the onlookers, who stood in awe of his fervor. With a worried expression, he questioned what was happening to him and why he was restrained, a bead of sweat trailing down his face. He assured the boy it was a minor issue, mentioning his grandmother's advice to soak up the sun for strength, emphasizing the importance of doing this sooner. He reassured the boy that the creature feared strength and preyed on weakness, highlighting the need to master abilities to dispel it. He mentioned that ancestors by the sacred fire pit wouldn't protect a boy without harder training, encouraging improvement for safety. He noticed the old man thoughtfully holding a pipe, his white beard swaying in the breeze. He stood confidently, questioning how the living could rely on the dead as a gentle breeze rustled through the trees. He stood in shock, confusion apparent as he gazed into the distance, lost in thought within the serene landscape. A commanding character instructed everyone to run 20 miles until sunset, his authority met with eager responses. He questioned the necessity of running 20 miles, wondering if such intensity was needed. He ran swiftly, footsteps crunching the grass beneath, surrounded by vibrant greenery. He dashed forward, sweat trickling down, determined as the vibrant grass blurred around him. A man sits in a dark setting, blood on his shirt and chains binding him, desperately thinking he must escape. He informed the sick man that he was unwell and there to treat him. He wondered about the extraordinary physical abilities they possessed, with dense trees looming behind him. Crouching near a boulder, he faced an unforeseen challenge, marked by dramatic tension. Astonished, he rested against a boulder as a muscular man with a pipe commented on his endurance, questioning his consumption of mountain meat. Leaning against the boulder, he recalled his grandma calling it Tai Sui meat, and questioned the true nature of mountain meat. Reflecting on his grandma's kindness, he listened as the man with the pipe noted that Tai Sui meat is not a daily meal in the village. Concerned, he observed the landscape as a bead of sweat trickled down his face, contrasting with the serene backdrop. Standing silently, he appeared thoughtful as a gentle breeze rustled the trees, intensifying his unease against the tranquil scenery. He inquired of the second master about Master Tai Sui, seeking clarity as the sun set behind the mountains. Mentioning the mountain's terrain, called Tai Sui, he referred to it as blood food, recalling elders saying it formed over centuries. Grimacing, he remembered the elders' tales of the mountain's terrain, constantly cutting and regrowing. An elderly man nearby expressed his frustration loudly. With a sly smile, the sick man asked if torture was part of the treatment. He expressed regret to the younger character, mentioning he wouldn't have brought him there if he had known about his forgetfulness. The younger character reacted with shock, questioning how anyone could eat such a gruesome thing and why it was given to him. He firmly pointed out the younger character's luck, highlighting grandma's effort in preparing the Tai Sui. Confused, he wiped sweat from his forehead, unsure about the meaning behind the peculiar comment. He asked the young boy if he understood why evil spirits gathered outside the village, leaning against a rock. The elder warned that while Mr. Tai Sui could repel evil and heal, his power also attracted dark spirits nearby. He noted grandma's exceptional ability, hinting at her unique influence against a vivid red background. He stated that only she could endure the evil spirit's harm, against a red landscape filled with shadows. He acknowledged that her peaceful life now is due to grandma, as he reflected while smoking and watching the landscape. The young character sat anxiously, feeling pressured, while the elder breathed heavily, tension filling the air. He declared her illness severe. She demanded he stop acting mysteriously. He advised caution regarding Mr. Tai Sui's size, noting that not every part is safe for consumption. He warned that most of the flesh is called black Tai Sui, and consuming it could lead to negative outcomes. He explained that eating the flesh might cause some to become evil spirits, while others might lose the ability to distinguish reality from illusion, frequently resulting in illness or strange occurrences. He mentioned that only the sun-facing side of the reddish character, known as white Tai Sui, is edible and provides more nourishment than 5 grains. He said that grandma regularly feeds him green Tai Sui, leaving the young man puzzled and responding with surprise. He furrowed his brow, contemplating deeply with a while in a mysterious forest. He commented on green Tai Sui's quality, stating it extends life and cures illnesses, while another character listened closely. One character explained the need for patience, emphasizing the importance of letting Mr. Tai Sui recover and grow after each use of green Tai Sui. A curious character asked if there was anything better than green Tai Sui. The elder suggested there might be, hinting at Mr. Tai Sui's potential. The character learned from the elder that bloody Tai Sui is extremely rare, expensive, and an exceptional alternative to green Tai Sui. She remarked that Brother Homa forgot grandma. He looked confused and asked, "What?" He questioned the high cost and wondered about the benefits of such a rare item. He recalled trading a piece of bloody Tai Sui for gold, revealing surprising past exchanges. He mentioned Zhao the gambler, noting that if not for a Pai Gown game loss, he would be married. He nervously greeted the second master, beads of sweat forming as he smiled with apprehension and respect. The second master spoke confidently, reflecting on his past as a flesh cutter while observing young boys eager to learn the skill of cutting Tai Sui. He considered that calling it cutting Tai Sui flesh seemed disrespectful, so they preferred the term paying respect to Tai Sui. He asked if his abilities were for repelling evil spirits. The elder confirmed, explaining the understanding would help avoid attracting them. He thought about their village's poverty, recalling how the blood food gang men harvested the flesh annually while they struggled. He wondered why they didn't cut and sell Tai Sui themselves, pondering their harsh realities against nature. He acknowledged Tai Sui's value, reminding the boy that not everyone could handle it and that his grandmother once asked similar questions, urging secrecy. The Ming clan sent a ghost for Brother Homa, but grandma retrieved his soul, stabilized him, and prepared food. He expresses surprise at the complete production chain for Tai Sui flesh in this world, noting its similarity to his original one. He sits on the ground, overwhelmed, pondering grandma's demands and acknowledging a lack of ancestral protection as he considers learning from the second master. Standing in a serene forest, he appears surprised and uncertain, staring wide-eyed at something unseen, reflecting a mix of anxiety and curiosity. The young man inquires of the grizzled mentor about acquiring his skills. The mentor, with a smile, warns that mastering abilities is challenging. A young man exclaims in surprise when a strong hand grips his hair, pulling him forward urgently against a dramatic backdrop. A muscular man grabs the young man's shoulders, urging him with determination. The young man, puzzled, responds with, "Huh?" Reassuring the young man about his health, the muscular man mentions grandma's urgency and offers to light the stove for him that night. Suddenly, the muscular man exclaims about the time and launches into action, his swift movement kicking up dust behind him. Explaining the first step to light the stove involves finding an adoptive mother, the muscular man speaks as a younger man stumbles in the background. He instructs the young boy, Homa, to bow in respect and be humble, as a shadow looms over him in the dim light. Brother Homa no longer escapes, yet he forgot grandma and little Hongtang. He told Homa the tree would become his adoptive mother and serve as a witness in this important moment. He explained that 3 kowtows were for gods and 4 for demons. He should kneel 4 times for his adoptive mother to accept him. The muscular elder, a pipe in his mouth, questioned his adoptive mother, seeking her approval with a knowing look. Madame Ripeye's grandson faced a calamity and sought protection from his adoptive mother, not desiring gold or silver, but merely asking for a branch to grow. Madame Ripeye's grandson watched as his muscular adoptive father touched a tree, expressing a bond, while the forest loomed silently. He gripped a leaf firmly, a sharp crack echoing as it snapped, symbolizing determination amidst the calm forest. He expressed gratitude to his adoptive mother while holding a bow under a majestic willow tree, feeling a sense of connection and strength. He felt uncertain about a girl's satisfaction, a nervous smile on his face as beads of sweat formed, surrounded by a dark forest. He stepped cautiously through the dim forest, his sturdy boots pressing against the damp grass as he gripped his weathered staff with determination. He stood quietly, gripping his staff, observing 2 characters moving cautiously through the dim forest, their faint silhouettes barely visible. He questioned if he was truly the strange old woman's grandson, feeling confused by her treatment. An older man with long gray hair listens to a young girl expressing concerns about their grandmother's reluctance for Brother Homa to learn from the second master's skills. He walks through a dark path, contemplating the girl's worries about Brother Homa learning from the second master, mindful of little sister Hongtang's unease. Cloaked and serious, the older man acknowledges the second master's skills, revealing his understanding of the situation. With a serious expression, he reflects deeply, maintaining a presence in the shadowy surroundings. In a shadowy forest, he considers the second master's strong but incomplete abilities, observing 2 figures in the distance. The cloaked old man reassures the girl that she need not fear her brother, Homa, as they walk through the misty forest. Under the bright moon, he assures the girl that whatever her brother Homa learns, it will never frighten her. Beneath the shimmering moon, shadowy figures hover in the night, while a mysterious house subtly hints at secrets. A character points to a worn book with cryptic symbols and texts, seeking knowledge hidden within. In a dimly lit room, 2 figures sit by a flickering fire. One reads a book intently, while the other quietly contemplates. The old man smirked subtly, as if holding secrets. In a dim room, an elderly character ponders over a book while onlookers whisper about the Huo clan's boy beginning his furnace practice. An elder, shouting through bars, demands that the onlookers return to their clan if dissatisfied, mentioning their fathers and green tai sui meat. Expressing concern about forgotten lessons, an elder warns of evil spirits, while a young man senses an unsettling presence watching him. A young man feels an unsettling presence vanish when near the second master, as a group observes with curiosity and concern. The old man exhales smoke while pondering, his stern expression revealing wisdom and a hint of mystery. He explained that his furnace glowed brightly, illuminating the chaotic scene with remnants of destruction scattered around. He mentioned he couldn't protect him forever, nor could his grandmother, as flames crackled in the dimly lit room. Intently staring, deep lines on his face revealed wisdom and concern, while shadows danced on the stone wall behind him. Looking surprised, wide-eyed with slight sweat forming, he stood in the dimly lit room, surrounded by stone walls. Kneeling quietly with muscles taut, he gazed at the flickering flames of the pot, lost in thought as darkness surrounded him. A cloaked figure, leaning on a staff, reassured the worried girl of his soul's stabilization and imminent recovery. He knelt quietly, muscles taut, gazing at the pot glowing with flames, lost in thought as shadows surrounded him. Focusing on the glowing pot, he flexed his muscles and skillfully added wood to the flames while a younger man observed from the side. He stood resolute amidst swirling flames, observed by an older man with a serious and contemplative expression, as shadows loomed ominously. Bright flames engulfed the scene as he pondered how life energy is contained within the body, intensifying over time. As flames surged, a muscular character instructed him that his body would transform into a fiery furnace to face evil spirits. Realizing what he's about to learn isn't science but real arts, excitement shone in his eyes despite some nervousness. He asked the mysterious elder what to do, his posture tense with anticipation, while the elder awaited his response calmly. Standing confidently, he urged the young man not to rush, gesturing for him to step closer and see ahead. He urged the young man to try moving the object, while the young man wondered if it was another wooden stake. Gripping the rough wooden stake tightly, tension built around him as he prepared to test its weight. The cloaked elder revealed the boy as the Ho family's sole descendant, vowing he would not fall to the Ming clan. He noticed the wooden stake wasn't moving and questioned why it remained still. He was shocked as the wooden stake, with eyes and an open mouth, confronted him in the darkness. Startled, he stepped back as the wooden stake with glaring eyes loomed over him. He placed a hand on the stake, advising it not to be afraid in the eerie surroundings. He said the wooden ghost stake doesn't harm humans but becomes immovable once rooted. He mentioned the need to use fire or another method to remove the wooden ghost stake. Despite his injuries, he fought through the pain and blood, determined to continue. He yelled fiercely, launching an attack that surprised his opponent, who wondered what it was amidst the crackling energy. He claimed that lighting the furnace gave him an advantage, allowing him to defeat or seriously harm evil spirits with a breath. He disclosed that the technique, Clear Life Arrow, was strengthened by biting his tongue, using his blood to enhance its power. He covers his face with a pained expression, wondering how many days have passed since he was transported into this body. He expressed relief and asked if his bonds could be removed, while the elder, shocked and wide-eyed, pondered the boy's sudden improvement. He smirked, claiming he never touched a woman and that 60 years of virginity granted him power. Intrigued, he questioned whether the virginity must always be preserved, referring to the man's claim about its importance. Confidently, he dismissed the notion, holding a fragmented stone with a shadowy atmosphere around him. He asked the group about their future and stated that their grandmothers would not forgive them if he forbade them from marrying. He explained the importance of retaining body heat, suggesting that desiring a pig's rear indicates one's time is up. He looked at the pig adorned with roses, its charm contrasting with his unease, unsure of his feelings. Sitting by the fire, a muscular man demanded he come closer and remove his shirt, creating tension. Lowering a stick into the boiling pot, he confidently declared his intention to draw a talisman, completing the furnace's lighting. Shocked, he watched the fiery stick emerge from the pot, recalling the advice to eat and train hard to strengthen the flame. He sat cross-legged, gripping the fiery stick, determined to begin as intense flames surrounded him. He mentioned the pain of being restrained and offered to free himself if that was what was wanted. His intense gaze was fixed ahead, the symbol's light reflecting in his eyes, projecting readiness for battle. He unleashed fiery energy toward the young man, who appeared startled by the incoming blaze. He furrowed his brow, a nervous sweat on his forehead as he focused intently. He asked wide-eyed if this was the furnace, feeling heat building ominously within. A chill ran through him as ghostly hands reached out, unsettling whispers increasing the tension. Cold dread filled him as ghostly hands reached for him, whispers heightening his fear. He sat nervously before the imposing character as the elder man poised a needle, anticipation flickering in the dim light. Concerned, he held a flickering torch, questioning the atmosphere around him. He inquired if the second master missed the event, receiving a reply that nothing had occurred. He instructed the other to memorize the talisman's trace, promising the fire power within him would be repelled and returned. She offered to help ease his restraints, surprising him with a mischievous smile. He instructed another character to trace the talisman precisely, assuring that the fire power would strengthen and offer protection from spirits. He warned that if someone foolish tried to invade his body, they would encounter unbearable heat that could burn and disappear. He reassured himself, feeling warmth enveloping his body, which brought a sense of comfort rather than a burning sensation. He wondered if this meant he wasn't truly an evil spirit, a mix of confusion and hope reflected on his face. He stood enveloped in darkness, staring into the vast, shadowy landscape below, contemplating unseen threats lurking in the depths. He closed his eyes, deep in thought, as shadows moved around him, suggesting the mysteries he was about to face. A cloaked character grasped a child's hand, urging him to move forward with anticipation, as ethereal lights flickered in the darkened landscape. Footsteps echoed as a character descended, casting long shadows on the stone floor, suggesting observers' presence in the dimly lit room. A man with silver hair warned a younger companion that life at his home would be less comfortable than in their clan, while characters worked in the dim room. The silver-haired man advised everyone to sleep early, emphasizing the importance of practicing their skills quietly and without noise during the night. Amid chaos, the character screamed in agony while chains clashed, creating a tense atmosphere. A sharp crack resounds from the wall as a mysterious symbol glows, indicating hidden power in the area. In a dimly lit room, a man sleeps while three muscular characters stand silently, their expressions unreadable, with the word silence ominously above. Two muscular characters in a dim room express envy over another's arrogance and familial ties as he sleeps. He reflects on the second master's training advice, deciding it's not the right time to approach them while he sleeps peacefully. Feeling warmth enveloping him, he exclaims excitedly about its effectiveness, wishing he'd harnessed this skill sooner. A sudden icy breeze shocks him, prompting him to wonder about the chilling sensation. Feeling cold, he nervously expresses confusion about his freezing hands and feet, realizing they've grown colder. In disbelief, he clutches his stomach, questioning why the furnace seems smaller and how his body emits cold. He recalls the second master's teachings, shocked by the idea that only the living have life energy. Enveloped in a dark, swirling mass with vibrant red hues, he questions if he is truly dead. Curled up on a rough surface, the character held his head in distress, surrounded by ominous chains. He strides confidently forward, wielding a massive sword and inviting others to join their discord to uncover secrets. The sun rises over the landscape, casting a warm glow on the greenery, symbolizing hope and new beginnings. An imposing character shouts at the children, emphasizing the urgency of their situation. As the boys flee, one urgently tells them to run, while a muscular character watches from afar, unaffected by their panic. While running, the boy is dwarfed by massive characters on either side, creating tension and urgency. Sweating and strained, he admits his struggle, saying he can't continue, aware that carrying this burden weakens his resolve. He looks upward, contemplating the consequences if the furnace's fire goes out, fearing for his fate. Sweating, anxiety on his face, he approaches Brother Homa, exclaiming he has brought food. He looks up, spotting a character in red at the cliff's peak, waving a bucket amidst swirling mist. She waves cheerfully, greeting with a smile, asking if he is little Hong Tang. With a mischievous grin, the character chuckled softly, contrasting with the dark backdrop. He sat on a rock, holding a basket, listening to a little girl in red ask about Grandma, who had gone to the mountain to find someone. He looked surprised at something opening and thought about food. He noticed a basket filled with delicious treats, including soft dumplings and rich, red sweets, feeling excitement at the sight. He felt cold and worried that it might be because he hadn't eaten any tai su meat since yesterday morning. A girl told a boy that their grandmother said Brother Homa should learn more skills and eat more meat to stay warm at night. He expressed concern for her, reminding her that she had barely recovered and needed to conserve her strength, urging not to overexert herself. He pondered why his grandmother anticipated a furnace issue, holding a plate of red treats, lost in thought while sitting outdoors. He gazed intensely, his eye reflecting a wooden pattern, contemplating deeply as uncertainty lingered. She peered wide-eyed from inside a bowl, captivated and surprised as hands held it delicately, offering an unexpected treat. He sat on a rock, hand on his heart, startled as a boy in red watched him intently, raising his eyebrows curiously. With a teasing smile, he lay back, his red hair falling around him, as the atmosphere turned tense. He looks up, surprised, as a red character floats nearby, intensifying the moment. He realizes the Tai Sui meat is powering the furnace again, casting a fiery glow on his face. He thinks perhaps his grandma sent little Hong Tang with comforting words, hoping for a change in his condition. He tells little Hong Tang to inform grandma that he understands her message, sitting on a rock with a bowl next to him. She tells him to eat quickly since she needs to check in with grandma, gesturing playfully with the bowl. He raises an eyebrow in curiosity, holding chopsticks, noticing something strange. A bead of sweat shows his surprise in the green surroundings. He watches her thoughtfully as she admits she's obedient, wanting to taste the food but holding back. He comments on his observation while she seems surprised, urging him to continue eating with a dramatic reaction. He stands on a hill as a group watches, awed, while a glowing blue arrow hovers before him. A crowd surrounds him aggressively, shouting for the piece he holds as he looks on, confused. He furrowed his brow, sweat beading on his forehead, questioning what the little girl was doing. He appeared startled, holding chopsticks with sweat on his face, absorbing the surprising scene around him. He grasped his chopsticks tightly, questioning if the situation was indeed a fight over tai sui meat, his eyes wide in shock. He shifted his gaze to the crowd, noticing a massive character and feeling apprehensive as the word, "you," echoed. Confidently, he stood shirtless with a bowl, smirking as he asked if she wanted to compete for the meat, introducing himself as Kui Shi'er. He pondered what was wrong with the person, feeling uneasy about their hostility. A muscular man, smoking a pipe, called out for Homa as onlookers reacted with surprise, highlighting tension in the forested area. A young man, visibly irritated, clicked his tongue while looking at someone off-screen, showing frustration in the serene setting. He offered a bowl filled with neatly arranged food, reaching out invitingly, encouraging someone to partake in the moment. He presented a bowl of meat to a muscular man, explaining he had just ignited his furnace and urging him to eat. With a hint of concern, he asked if this was not his grandma's gift for accepting him as her disciple, his eyes reflecting eagerness. The cloaked figure stood ominously, holding a weapon, revealing that Elder Sui's death was suspicious. He thinks about his grandma's teachings on the significance of eating as a tradition, questioning its relevance at his age. He advises the younger man to eat and learn quickly to support himself and honor his family, while the older man reflects. He tells the younger man to eat first and then learn some moves as others practice nearby. He nervously asks his second master if he can skip learning to eat his meal instead. He looks up surprised at the elder, recalling little Hong Tang's message about his injury recovery and cautions against overexertion. He appears downcast and responds reluctantly as the elder decides to find another to teach skills. Ji Yu Da Tong stands confidently, commanding attention as he prepares for an imminent adventure. A cheerful boy relaxes, enjoying the sunshine with a grin and a soft giggle. A muscular man instructs another to teach Homa skills, ensuring both learn well, while a chubby boy listens attentively, understanding the responsibility. He smiles, thinking the new assignment seems manageable and anticipating smooth days ahead. The cloaked figure declared that even the coffin plank had returned for revenge, suggesting Elder Sui's corpse wouldn't remain silent for long. He remains composed as water splashes around, creating a tranquil environment that suggests peace. Calmly observing, he sees two men, one, with short hair, gestures animatedly, while the other, shirtless, readies to splash water, adding energy to the scene. Standing bare-chested, he scolds the two for pausing, warning against consuming the soup, displaying his frustration. Expressing disappointment, he mentions the second master's generosity, while another character, surprised, highlights this in a rocky setting. Commenting on his habitual laziness, he humorously compares a grandchild to his grandmother, amidst a serene background. Looking up at two towering figures, he feels both intimidated and surprised, marked by his exclamatory response. Frustrated, he recalls the ongoing disturbance from two shirtless figures while watching the scene by the water. Angrily confronting someone, he exclaims about the audacity of mentioning grandma, his expression showing anger against a lively backdrop. Facing a muscular adversary, he smirks, tauntingly questioning if there will be retaliation. Gazing into the glowing light, surprise shows in his eyes as he experiences an unexpected realization. With a hood obscuring his face, he recalls the forced consumption of strange food, lamenting his torment, but acknowledges it no longer matters. He warned her that she hadn't fully recovered, her weakened state making her susceptible to evil spirits, and advised her to remain indoors. In a misty landscape, a girl in a red outfit crouches with a masked expression, while a boy stands nearby, his eyes sharp and focused. A boy gazes downward thoughtfully in a serene landscape, deep in contemplation as a droplet reflects his thoughts. With fierce determination, he shouts, urging others to take on the challenge, his expression intense against a vibrant backdrop. He calls out enthusiastically for everyone to rally, as excitement and anticipation of an imminent battle fill the vibrant landscape. He wonders aloud about the unfolding events, questioning if others will truly engage in the fight as a decisive moment looms, marked by, "The fight has started." He questions Homa's thoughts, wondering if brother Shi-er can withstand even one punch from him, revealing doubts in the tranquil setting. Smirking, he warns the brat that the situation is self-inflicted and advises him not to complain to the second master if he gets hurt. Lunging violently with a crazed grin, he yells to go, as the moment's intensity escalates. Staring in shock, he watches the creature fall, realizing the gravity of his actions, feeling a surge of adrenaline and fear. Lying on the ground with blood trickling from his nose, he looks confused and fearful, wondering what just happened. An elderly character, draped in a dark shawl, opened a door and promised to assist someone inside, instructing them to wait for their return. He exclaims in confusion, feeling as though someone has grabbed his leg while he hangs above the trees. Approaching urgently, he notices his companion's shocked expression, indicating something unexpected. His hand digs into the earth with determination, grasping the grass as if it is essential. He gasps when a character lunges at him, striking intensely amidst a vibrant atmosphere. He fiercely lunges at his opponent, shouting as the bare-chested character tries to shield his face. He smirks as a large hand reaches toward him, creating tension against a serene backdrop. Startled, he feels small hands cover his eyes while she giggles amidst bright light. He covers his face in distress, eyes wide in fear, as a scream erupts around him. A character wonders if she can achieve something secretly while holding another playfully. He smiles at Hong Tang, praising her with, "Well done," against a lush landscape. A shadowed character stared intently, their expression unreadable, as tension hinted at an upcoming revelation. He walked confidently, insisting he couldn't be blamed for the situation as energy erupted around his feet in the rainy landscape. Suddenly turning, he asserted he didn't create the trouble while energy crackled around him in the lush backdrop. He unleashed a powerful fiery attack toward his opponent, as a girl watched in astonishment, a mix of fear and excitement on her face. He gasped in shock, sweat glistening on his brow, as fear gripped him, highlighting the moment's intensity. He pointed in shock at a character half buried in the ground, disbelief clouding his expression as mist swirled around them. Looking alarmed, he called to his brother, urging him to hurry and get help as panic crept into his expression. He gasped in pain, blood spilling from his mouth, the intensity of his agony visible as he struggled to breathe. Standing towering over the others, muscles rippling, he silently challenged them while they watched in awe, fear and admiration on their faces. An elderly man urgently yelled for black oil ointment while a young boy lay injured nearby, his face marked and bloodied. He forcefully plunged his hand into the dark, viscous substance, showing determination in his quest for healing. A character, feeling anxious about evil spirits, questioned his location in the dark surroundings. He pressed down on the injured youth, showing urgency and focus despite the crowd's anxious expressions. A character asked the second master about a mysterious medicine, hoping it would heal the wounded individual. Another character mentioned having black oil ointment, which might help the injured person nearby. He explained that the black oil ointment, made from immortal mushrooms and medicinal herbs, could heal external wounds quickly when applied. The injured man lay on the ground, pained, with blood trailing from his mouth, indicating a serious condition. Surprised, he noted his survival, waking up with wide eyes and tousled hair, reflecting relief in the dimly lit room. He gasped in shock, eyes wide with fear, as a jagged shape loomed dangerously close. In terror, he exclaimed about a ghost, pointing out its presence, as the eerie atmosphere heightened tension around the old stone house. Horrified, bloodied, and trembling, he whispered about a ghost, his expression showing sheer terror. He sat authoritatively, scolding another to stop embarrassing himself, while the silent onlookers felt the tension between them. Lying on the ground, battered and determined, he thought survival was his main priority. He instructed the others to let the man rest and to monitor him closely. One replied obediently, agreeing to his orders. He spoke with authority while the man in front of him remained silent and attentive, clearly troubled. He commanded them to follow him, pointing towards the lush landscape, as the evening sky's warm light enveloped the scene. A muscular man with a pipe sat at the table, his intense gaze focused on the seated young man, who appeared anxious yet determined during their tense conversation. The muscular man revealed that the young one had been with him for almost 3 years and mentioned an intense moment involving a cauldron fire. He recounted how he struck his opponent, emphasizing that he had used some of his abilities in the process. The imposing character, with a pipe in his mouth, towered over the character, who appeared startled and tense, surrounded by an intense atmosphere. The imposing figure shouted for the young man to channel his energy, causing him to startle, sweat on his brow, both surrounded by a vibrant glow. An older man, with a long beard and wise eyes, listened intently as the young man, confidently leaning back, shared his thoughts, setting a relaxed atmosphere. With a determined expression, the young man contemplated deeply, the dimly lit stone wall behind him adding to the sense of introspection. Chains glinted on the ground in dim light, as a thought persisted that escaping for another chance was preferable to being restrained again. As her hand touches his bare chest, an electric spark ignites between them, heightening the tension. Startled, the muscular man with a pipe reacts with wide eyes and a raised hand, sensing an unexpected threat. Surprised, the muscular man questions how the young man can produce such intense cauldron fire, while the youth remains calm in his chair. Wearing a fur-lined outfit, the muscular man inquires if the youth's grandma usually brings him tasty food, asking if she was bringing him green tai sui meat. The young man, smiling and slightly flustered, hesitantly responds with a soft "eh," as he considers a surprising thought. Seated with his head in hand, the old man questions if grandma invited Mr. Tai Sui, his concerned expression evident. The elder scolds the young man for not informing him sooner, expressing regret over missing the chance to alter the talisman in time. He asks about changing the talisman, revealing his surprise at never being informed about the need for it. A muscular man expresses astonishment at another's rapid progress and urges him to undress quickly, while a younger character listens anxiously nearby. A muscular man prepares for something serious, surrounded by tools like a knife, a pot, and boxes, as anticipation builds. He contemplated the difficult problem of escape, realizing he must confront upcoming obstacles. A muscular man with a pipe grinned and declared that his experiment had succeeded, while a younger man sat on the ground, surprised. A rugged man with a beard pondered over a willow tree branch, saying he'd need to ask his adoptive mother for another one. He stood with a worried expression, questioning if it needed constant changing, sweat forming on his brow. He discussed seriously how the light energy in the seal weakened as the cauldron fire's glow grew, advising that more light energy was needed to strengthen the dark sealing talisman. He stated that usually altering the talisman once sufficed for descent into the mine, but acknowledged this situation was different for him. He claimed he did nothing, attributing everything to his grandmother's kindness while sitting bare-chested against a rocky background. With a pipe in his mouth, he smirked and remarked slyly that she seemed aware of the situation. He reminded her that grandma was working hard, urging her not to be lazy, while adjusting his pants, displaying a laid-back demeanor. He extended a hand, announcing that she had reached the necessary level, and it was time to teach her genuine abilities. He reached out his hand, signaling that she had achieved the required level, and it was time to teach her real abilities. She assured Brother Homa cheerfully that she would watch over him, playfully holding a chain. He shouted, "Ha!" while delivering a powerful punch, showing energy and determination. He pointed angrily at the muscular man with a pipe, expressing frustration. The man watched with surprise and curiosity. He remarked that the technique seemed well practiced, suggesting the boy had been neglecting his training. He wondered if Ju Datong had a talent for teaching, while another boy smiled subtly, considering the old man's words. He thought about Ju Datong, a second-generation villager who preferred lying down, and recalled his own experiences in group dancing and martial arts, realizing his past contributed to his success. He realized he must learn this skill to save himself, showing serious determination. He explained that martial arts serve as a method to harness energy, while the older man listened thoughtfully. He elaborated on channeling energy by directing fire energy into the cauldron, demonstrating internal energy channeling. He shared that ancient martial arts involve external energy channeling, conveying his knowledge seriously. He confidently demonstrated the ancient technique, explaining how to extract fire energy from the cauldron with focus. He shouted angrily while she exclaimed loudly, the intense atmosphere suggesting a heated interaction. A powerful force hurled one character back, while the other remained poised, glowing with intense energy, showcasing their fierce clash. The teacher described an ability named Mountain Cleaver, advising on punch direction and emphasizing loud exhalation to unleash fire energy. With a bright smile, he confidently stated his readiness to face the challenge. He demonstrated his second ability, explaining that the energy channeling method changes from left to right, naming it push and block. He instructed his student to jump back lightly, channeling energy from the bottom to the top, and demonstrated the technique. He boldly declared the move, Monkey Snatches the Peach, showing determination with a fierce hand gesture. Amidst a dimly lit stone backdrop, a muscular man gestured dramatically, while a young man stood quietly, appearing unsure and contemplative. In a rustic setting, the muscular man recounted learning a technique from an old master, while the young man listened intently. The muscular man cautioned against underestimating the name and explained the importance of the 3 moves, along with the true dark arrow, for survival. One character eagerly inquired about what was next, while an elder replied there was nothing more, leaving the younger one confused. He yelled furiously, demanding they read on a website, while she chased him, demanding an apology. He scratched his head, revealing that the old master had only imparted limited teachings, hinting at his frustration with the learning process. He scratched his head again, suggesting there should be more martial arts techniques, but the old master had not shared them with the second master. Pointing with enthusiasm, he explained that mastering one ability suffices, but with 3 skills available, they have more than enough. He eagerly requested his second master to teach him quickly. The master, smiling, acknowledged his haste and agreed to proceed. A lone stone house stands isolated on a hill under a starry sky, casting shadows and a mysterious aura across the landscape. In the dimly lit stone house, a shaft of light pierces the darkness, revealing scattered belongings and an air of abandonment, hinting at untold stories. In a dim room, one boy remains awake, staring thoughtfully at the ceiling, while his friend sleeps soundly beside him, unaware of the unease. He reflects on having more energy than others despite feeling cold, attributing it to consuming a lot of bloody tai sui meat. He hopes to assist his grandmother after mastering the second master's martial arts, a thought deeply etched in his mind. He silently observes a dimly lit room filled with scattered stones, an aura of mystery surrounding unseen figures and a faintly trembling weapon nearby. Realizing the strange old woman and little girl are gone, he urges himself to escape before they return. Amidst swirling energy and chains, he stood confidently, his intense gaze cutting through the chaos, embodying strength and determination in a vibrant scene. He grips the weapon tightly, its blade gleaming in the faint light, signaling danger. A shadowy character stands over a sleeping man, knife raised, creating a sense of danger and suspense. Energy swirls as a character thrusts forward, demonstrating a powerful attack leading to chaos and change. With a sinister grin, he charges with a spear, eyes filled with malevolent intent in the chaotic surroundings. Determined, he wields a glowing sword, releasing a powerful strike in brilliant light, showcasing his skill. Startled, he grips his dagger, ready to strike at a menacing foe emerging from the shadows. He calls out, "Sui Shi-er," as 2 figures approach, one growling and the other confusedly asking, "What is happening?" With concern, he insists something is wrong with the person above, his expression intense as he reaches out. Wide-eyed, he watches a massive character swing a sword, his expression mixing fear and determination. He gasps, surprise clear, as a glint of light reflects off a nearby object. Injured and chained, he lay on a bed, vulnerable, while a character in red observed quietly from the shadows, tension evident. He yelled, terrified, eyes wide as a menacing force swirled around him, the air thick with dread. A young man, scared, held a knife while a ghostly character hovered behind him, as 2 others expressed confusion about the horror unfolding. A young man gasped, eyes wide with fear at a threat, a chilling word punctuating the tense atmosphere. A young man released a blue energy wave, while another stared, shocked by the moment's intensity. Wide-eyed with panic, a young man exclaimed about an escaped entity, questioning if it embodied evil, urging his companion to contact the second master. A muscular man burst through a door, torch in hand, his expression determined as bright light radiated around him. A stern man held a lantern, lighting a dark room where 3 shirtless characters, armed and tense, prepared for confrontation, their faces showing readiness. A terrified shirtless man stared, eyes wide, face contorted as he heard indistinct whispers, feeling trapped in a bizarre atmosphere. A muscular man loomed over a fallen character, fear visible in a nearby onlooker's eyes, as tension filled the dimly lit space. 3 figures with bare backs stood in a dark space, their postures showing intense focus as they prepared for a crucial moment. Staring at his bleeding hand, he noted the blood contrasting against his white shirt, deeply concerned about his predicament. A muscular man, shocked and worried, holds a lifeless character, exclaiming in desperation, "What happened?" as darkness looms ominously around them. A startled young man discusses a white-faced evil spirit, while 2 muscular figures listen intently. their expressions a mix of surprise and concern. The young man describes a terrifying encounter, claiming he saw a white-faced evil spirit about to kill him with a knife. The elder man considers whether the white-faced demonic spirit he saw could be the infamous white-faced mountain monster. He holds the frail character in his arms, appearing pensive and concerned as silence envelops them. He insists that Homa should join him, urging her to come along. He encourages Homa to join him, compelling her to come with a determined look. In a dimly lit stone chamber, a determined young man watches over an unconscious character, the flickering lantern casting shadows around them. In a cozy room with rustic charm, a surprised young man gazes up as a character approaches, their shadow looming against the warm background. In a dimly lit room, a worried young man asks the second master about the situation while another character stands near the door. He anxiously examined his palm, questioning if the bleeding had stopped, wondering if a lick could halt it. In a shadowy corner, a tough-looking character with a cigarette expresses confidence, stating preparations have been made to deter the foe for now. In a dimly lit space, a rugged character with a cigarette questions how the wanderer dares to intrude upon his farm, feeling anger. A young character, in a tense atmosphere, expresses uncertainty about other matters but reveals a third person has envied the kindness shown to him. In a dim moment, he reveals frequent trouble from someone, leading to an inevitable confrontation. He expresses frustration, revealing he advised someone to be open-minded, but they stubbornly cling to the Sui family's narrow mindset. Intense resentment fills him, constantly thinking about someone, leading him to unleash a terrifying creature, almost causing disaster. He asks the survivor how he managed the challenging experience, his serious demeanor highlighted by the pipe in his mouth. He asks if she shot the arrow of true light, with the moon illuminating a distant cabin in a mystical night. He questions if he ever explained how to shoot the arrow before. The muscular character replies it was mentioned once, mastering it in under a month. He admires the young character's exceptional talent, admitting he hasn't encountered anyone as skilled in years, seeing it positively. Looking at the eerie girl, he pondered her mysterious origins, his bandaged hand hinting at a past struggle. He ponders a troubling issue, suggesting that for the white-faced mountain monster to confront him, something significant must have happened. Surprised and confused, he wonders what the other character meant by their statement. He warns that his farm is filled with intense fire energy that ordinary evils fear, discussing the white-faced mountain monsters that have gained consciousness. Concerned, he asks the second master what he means, as tension fills the air. Expressing disapproval, he states that this goes against its nature, sitting with a stern expression. He suspects a hidden force is at work, alluding to the clan that harmed his companion, while a monstrous character lurks in the shadows. Worriedly, he recalls the formidable clan that even his grandmother couldn't manage, as tension hangs in the air. Anxiously, he asks the second master if he knows which clan is after him and why they are targeting him. Uncertain about the matter, he explains that grandmother refuses to share any information with him. Holding the pipe to his lips, wispy smoke curls upward as he is lost in thought about the secrets left unspoken. Intently, he asked her for her name and connection to the old woman, sweat forming on his forehead. He calculated the time since the Hu clan's arrival in Diang village, noting nearly 20 years had passed since the enmity began. He recalled the Hu clan's cruelty, sparing neither the elderly nor children, and mentioned a peculiar wind that suggested they had lost their way. He remembered everyone searching for him for 3 days, highlighting grandmother's efforts to find him. The old man puffed on his pipe thoughtfully, while the young boy, surprised and wide-eyed, listened intently, considering the weight of their conversation. He wondered about her actions, seeking clarity in the mystery that puzzled him. Troubled, he held a pipe in his mouth, reflecting on the emptiness in his life, whispering to himself, nothing. He lay helpless, his body weak, while she, cloaked and determined, whispered she wouldn't tell him about this, as a strong man stood nearby. He recalled his grandmother injuring the creature, noting she warned it would return to harm him if it knew he was alive. Standing behind the bars, a pipe between his teeth, he felt deep worry, contemplating the ominous situation. He warned that the white-faced mountain monster targeted someone, suggesting a connection to a mysterious nearby object. She introduced herself as Hong Tang, explaining her grandma found her outside and brought her in. He advised the other man to rest, emphasizing the need to inform grandmother the next day. He pondered little Hong Tang's remark about grandmother searching the mountain and questioned why it still intended to harm him. He considered the possibility that grandmother was unable to manage the entity, feeling concerned and confused. He sat down, tense, with hands clasped tightly, releasing a sigh while contemplating his troubling thoughts. The young man expressed his urgent wish to enter the forest to assist his grandmother, while an older character listened, pipe in hand. With determination, he faced the unseen presence, his expression showing urgency and resolve as shadows loomed in the dimly lit room. With a wide grin, the muscular older man laughed heartily, commenting on the young man's maturity, displaying warmth and familiarity. Smirking, the older man with a pipe teased the young man, saying his words revealed the grandmother's love for him. The muscular older man advised the young boy to be patient and wait for grandmother's guidance. The boy nodded thoughtfully, feeling reassured. A character stepped forward cautiously, leaving faint marks in the soft grass, surrounded by a mysterious ambiance. He inquired about her well-being and her time with her grandma, while she wondered if she was linked to mysterious spirits. He looks up, drawn to the crescent moon glowing amid the stars, enveloped in the quiet of the night and the rustling grass. He exhales quietly, appreciating the starry sky, lost in his thoughts as a breeze stirs the trees nearby. He contemplates his grandmother's wisdom and kindness, wondering what strong faith enables her to save him from despair. Standing with confidence, he asserts that even though he is not her grandson, he will assist her this time. With concern and a solitary tear, he calls out for Brother Homa, aware of the gravity of the moment and the encroaching darkness. Determined, he calls into the shadowy forest, seeking a reply, while unfamiliar symbols hover around him. He notices little Hong Tang behind a tree, both curious and shy, and inquires why she is hiding. Little Hong Tang shares her worry, explaining that the second master has spread ash on the farm, barring her entry. He questions her tardiness in bringing food, as she sits upset against a tree. Surprised, she informs him there is no food, with the night sky overhead. He questioned if this was the meat his grandma had been feeding him, eyeing a strange dish in the bowl. Tears streaming, she expressed her fear about not being able to find her grandmother. Mysterious symbols emerged in the vibrant landscape, suggesting secrets within the foliage. A shadow moved swiftly, followed by a spear arcing through the air, indicating a confrontation. He ran determinedly, carrying a girl on his shoulders, both prepared for adventure. Startled, he stood as a girl clung to him, nervously calling him, Brother Homa. Turning anxiously, he listened as the girl whispered, questioning if Grandma had abandoned Lil Hong Tang. Smiling, he reassured her, promising they would return to search for Grandma. A muscular man with white hair looked grim, while a shadowy figure lurked nearby. The elderly man recalled Little Hong Tang as Grandma's servant spirit, stressing their connection. A cloaked figure explained to a small girl that lighting incense would aid in finding someone, highlighting the spirit walker's importance. He asked if she didn't desperately want to eat it, pointing emphatically, while blood stained his shirt, hinting at tension. A young man, startled, seeks reassurance from his grandmother, indicating tension in their conversation. A stern man advises not to panic in trouble, his gaze conveying urgency. He decides to return to the village to assess the situation, moving with determination. He strides confidently toward the village as a group of men watch with mixed emotions. Upon his return, the clan chief exclaims, calling him second son, while others look intrigued. The clan chief, concerned, asks about his grandmother, revealing deep worry. With wide eyes, the clan chief urgently questions the young man beside him about his grandmother. The young man, confused, stands as the clan chief clarifies the situation isn't related to his grandmother. An elderly man informs the young man that since Homa's arrival, his grandmother hasn't returned recently. Feeling anxious, he questions his grandmother's whereabouts, glancing at the mist-covered village. In chains, a drop of sweat on his brow, he feels trapped and uncertain, silently contemplating his next move. She firmly protested, stating she didn't want to, her face a blend of fear and determination. He wondered if she had gone west towards the old forest as trees framed his view. Pondering the old forest, he questioned her well-being. He inquired about the reason for his summon, and the elder mentioned a significant matter to discuss. Spotting something in the distance, he pointed and urged his companion to look, capturing attention urgently. Villagers noticed nobles arriving, who expressed interest in entering the old forest, stirring curiosity and concern. The nobles sought a guide for the old forest, and one man believed only he could manage the task, acknowledging their status. An older man advised the second son to serve the nobles faithfully, hinting at a potential silver coin reward. He mentioned his missing grandmother and his intent to search for her. Expressing confidence, He wondered what harm could befall his strong grandmother, though he looked worried yet hopeful. Reflecting on the arrival, he mentioned the old merchant from Grass Heart Hall accompanying them, emphasizing the importance of not angering the group. He mentioned it was an opportunity, his confidence evident despite his side injury. Villagers request help, stressing the significance of their medicinal herbs and hoping for successful grain sales next spring if managed correctly. Two villagers, concerned, discuss their issues with a serious man, who listens thoughtfully. A villager promises to send someone for grandma, while a stern man urges urgency, noting the nobles have waited for nearly an hour. Facing the darkness, he assures he will enter the forest with others, showing determination despite tension. He expresses a strong desire to help, surprising an older man and a bald character with his eagerness. The older man warns against following, stressing not to interfere with the second master's task. The older man assures he won't interfere, mentioning the path grandma took and his wish to stay by the second master's side for protection. He praises the boy's intelligence, warning that the creature threatening the farm could reach the village, emphasizing safety in numbers. The older man, worried, hesitantly questions the boy, his face showing concern. In the village, the older man remarks on the difficulty of finding a guide, while others suggest searching elsewhere. He muttered to himself, noting the tension in the air. A wiry man insists they have a guide who just arrived, while another character calmly explains that he was discussing rules to avoid offending nobles. An old man with a beard offers to lead them into the mountain, showing his willingness to help. He asserts his familiarity with every inch of the old Shadow Mountain, indicating a deep connection to the land. He insists on bringing the boy to assist him, showcasing their bond against the village backdrop. A tense moment arises as he confronts the boy, his serious demeanor contrasting with the greenery. He states that the boy can come but insists he must contribute to the work. Walking through the misty forest, his footsteps blend into the eerie atmosphere. As they move through the forest, their expressions hidden in shadows create a determined atmosphere. He gazes in surprise, realizing something as the misty forest surrounds him. He looks up in surprise, noticing the tug on his sleeve from the little girl in the red coat. She quietly told herself the dish was delicious, her expression sly. He realized little Hong Tang had appeared suddenly and worried she might be mistaken for a spirit. He wondered if the others hadn't noticed her yet as she quietly tugged his sleeve while they continued walking in the misty forest. He glanced back, urging them to follow carefully with a whisper, as the surroundings felt tense and mysterious. She pondered with a thoughtful expression as the eerie mist surrounded the trees, creating an enigmatic atmosphere. He walked barefoot through the misty landscape, feeling the soft grass against his soles while the characters for "stop" and "halt" appeared nearby. A group of armed men, led by a tall character, advanced ominously through the swirling mist, while another watched from below, concerned. He expressed concern about the fog, warning that the old river toad had appeared and insisted on choosing a different path. At dusk, a character reflected on the separation between humans and spirits, while another reassured that night was still distant. A rugged man in a fur-lined vest expressed serious concern, hinting at an unforeseen challenge ahead. He reflected on the dense dark energy of Old Shadow Mountain Forest, noting it was considered dusk, regardless of the time of day. He insisted he must not eat, recalling Grandma had cut the meat from Master Kui for Homa. He cautions that entering the forest means crossing the boundary. His character stands out against the mysterious, greenish scenery. He smirks, intrigued by an unexpected element in the forest, a mix of curiosity and amusement on his face. He gazes intently, feeling urgency and concern, contemplating the importance of following the guide's instructions. Leaning forward with focus, he awaits further directions as a mysterious mist surrounds them, heightening anticipation. He inquires about a woman in the sedan chair, while a young man waits anxiously behind him, the lush surroundings enhancing the scene. A rugged man, stressed yet relieved, comments on the noble lady's knowledge in the sedan chair, while a young man listens, intrigued. Two men gaze at the sky. One warns that those self-important will ignore guidance and miss their inevitable fate. As they walk through the forest, one suggests spending the night there, while the other listens closely. Under a crescent moon, a distant glow lights up the dark forest, creating mystery and solitude among the towering trees. In the forest's darkness, he tightly clutches a bundle of wooden sticks, urgency clear in his grip as he prepares for what lies ahead. He looked at the meat on the plate, understanding it was meant for someone special. In the twilight of the forest, she follows closely as he informs the second master that only a few branches remain, while the character beside them states it's sufficient. In the dim forest light, he questions the purpose of the branches, doubting their use for starting a fire. He questions the character standing before him, asserting that spending the night in the forest is dangerous for humans, as they intrude upon the realm of malevolent spirits. He drives a stake into the ground with force, creating a loud thud as he prepares for what lies ahead. He explains that branches are used to build courtyard walls and a gate for shelter while she observes closely, concerned about disturbing the forest spirits. He notes that their approach allows them to coexist with the ancient forest, while gazing thoughtfully into the trees. He encourages resting early, promising to help the nobles find their location in the morning, before they set off to find Grandma. He acknowledges the intense orange flames dancing in the dark, filling the atmosphere with warmth and crackling energy. He sits quietly by the crackling orange flames, while a small girl, leaning against him, looks thoughtful, a hint of warmth illuminating their expressions in the dark. He reassures with a gentle smile, promising they will surely find Grandma, as the glowing flames cast a warm light around them. He informed her that the bowl was his to offer, adding that Grandma wouldn't find out. She considered in silence, hugging herself tightly, appearing thoughtful as the warm, flickering light surrounded her. In a moonlit clearing, a group gathered around a flickering campfire, sharing stories and laughter, their faces illuminated by the warm glow. A young man, shown in a dimly lit close-up, stared intensely, his expression revealing both determination and mystery, with shadows deepening his gaze. A voice called out to the Hu clan from Old Shadow Mountain, seeking the attention of any reincarnators amidst dark clouds. Startled, he stared wide-eyed, shocked by the sight of a dark figure ahead, leaving him with a sense of foreboding. She inquired if he would keep their secret from Grandma, smiling playfully. He reassured her that if Grandma asked, he'd admit to eating everything. She promised not to hesitate, moving closer as he relaxed, absorbed in the moment. He clenches his fist, sweat dripping as anxiety fills him, contemplating his situation in the dim and oppressive atmosphere. He gasped at the sight, realizing he needed to escape immediately from the demon's presence. He bolted through the open door, driven by the instinct to flee the danger behind him as panic coursed through his veins. He realized she was a demoness, fear gripping him as his heart raced with urgency. In panic, he urged her to run quickly, telling her to escape as chaos surrounded them. Chaos enveloped him as he fell, and others questioned his survival, debating whether to inform Grandma. Amidst a wild escape, he sprinted forward, fear evident in his eyes, sweat dripping as he focused solely on survival, while chaotic voices echoed around him. Barefoot, he dashed urgently, vibrant sunset colors painting the scene, as the air thickened with tension. With a mischievous smile, his shirt slightly disheveled, he stood surrounded by an enchanting sunset, the vibrant sky mirroring his playful spirit. He gasped, clutching his side where blood stained his shirt, surrounded by shadowy trees under a darkening sky that mirrored his fear. The character stared in horror at the monstrous beast before him, its glowing eyes and fur, as it emitted menacing growls. Gripping his torn shirt tightly, bloodstaining it, he feels the weight of his dire situation, anxiety consuming him. The character, sweating nervously, reacted to a large shadow looming over him with menacing growls in the forest. As the creature lunged, its terrifying growl echoed, chilling him while he stood frozen and whispered in fear. He stood beside a scaly creature, tension rising as fear mixed with awe. Shocked, he noticed blood on his clothes and realized he was in grave danger. She hissed, "Brother Joma," with a sinister smile, while he looked confused, sensing dread. With an eerie grin, she called out to Brother Homa, her voice filled with malevolence as shadows loomed around them. Wide-eyed and fearful, she wondered aloud, "What is all this?" as tension thickened. Concerned, she urged Brother Homa to wake up as ominous figures loomed. After awakening on a familiar table, he questioned if he was back again. He observed the elderly woman preparing a meal, reminding him of his serious injuries and the ignored warning about going out at night. A hooded character with a determined expression emerges from the shadows, holding curved objects tightly, suggesting a critical mission.